The current feelings about the stability of Star Citizen, the playability of Star Citizen. I mean, we're kind of turning back to that talk. I know we spent a lot of time really getting into that. But we're going to talk about just kind of like how people are viewing what's going on with the game right now. So the first post I saw was somebody saying, is stability focus viable? And it's a pretty long post. I will read some of it. So this is from No Shirt 2407 on Reddit. Thank you, No Shirt. Appreciate you. It said, when Jared discussed the next direction of bug fixing and server meshing polish, Benoit communicated how nervous they were for this year. Sure, there was a strong contingent at marketing that was opposed to filing the bugs. They said they relied on feature hype to sell ships. Other realized they have a good game. If it can work, this debate refers within the company as well as between us and the community. Yeah. This post isn't about that debate, is what they say. So far, I see massive evidence in the funding alone to support this direction towards a successful and even record-breaking year for CIG. If the community confidence in the game and the development can be measured not by our outrage on forums, but by how much people are spending, then this year may break 300 million and add a plethora of new players. Honestly, I do think that they're going to make a lot of money this year, specifically just because the game runs on hype, yeah, and they used to use features more to sell hype. Now they're just using a playable game. And no, it's not completely playable, I know. But it's, like, again, it's a combination of content, of new mission design, of narrative, of bug fixes, and of regular patches that make it feel playable. And I think that's helping them out a lot because it keeps the activity regular and it keeps eyes on them. They continue to remember if the PU isn't playable and if a company has a reputation of scamming the community, then they begin to release Squadron 42. They are cooked, baked, and burned. This is what we were talking about. Like, they were, yeah, 300 million is kind of wild. They were definitely, like, they recognize, they know that it's not new ships that makes them money. It's the game working. And they need the game to work. I think that's why they're doing this whole playability thing. So he basically just shows their funding. And I mean, you can see from this, we could go to the actual website that hosts this because there's a little more information here. So you can see by this that their funding is up. They're already ahead of where they would have been in April of last year. And yeah, they're probably going to start their May funding well ahead of May stuff. So that'll take them far. I think it's working, but even in this post, you can see, like, he is also saying stability focus, not playability focus. And the more we stay stability, the more people think it's just stability, and the more people get angry when they add content or other features that maybe don't affect stability, but do make the game more playable. It's also like, what is stability? New player signups down over 30%. Yes, so that's what I was also going to touch on. Besides money, you can also look at players. And the player numbers are actually quite a bit down. Last year was down too. Now, 2022 was an insane freaking year. May was a gnarly time for Star Citizen in 2022. This is when a lot of streamers, big streamers, first started playing it. Or like jumped in a little bit to play it. I think actually the next year as well might have been, was it the next year that like Summit 1G played for like a freaking month straight? I think those things got a lot of people in, but also just the surge of interest in this game from 2020 and on really peaked in 2022. So now we can see that the player new number joinings have dropped. I think 48,000 is probably where I would take an average of this all and figure that 2024 was likely a little bit less than they should have been getting based on how the game was in terms of stability. It wasn't a year that got people playing the game and then looking at it and being like, oh, I'll keep playing this. This year, maybe more. This year might do better. But we could see it's already falling behind last year. So that'll be interesting to watch throughout the year if they can get their playability into a better place. But they likely recognize that they need to make sure the game is good enough that people want to keep playing it when they join, or that people even do join when they see it being played. You know, this is a good point. I should definitely confirm how they're even getting these numbers. No, I know the MMO population website's not gonna be reliable. For this one though, I'm guessing they're just tracking what it says on the website, the counter. So looking at the conversation, somebody said, I think this has more to do with contents and events. They mean more consistent engagement to get the rewards and stuff, and that means more people are giving the game more attention, so their money is going here rather than to other games holding their attention. Yeah, pretty much nailed it there. They said the second follow-up said, I've been playing 4 to 5 years. I've gotten 5 friends to play, and out of those 5, only 1 has stuck it out past the first day. I've been pretty dumb about this game for a while. Yeah, don't bring your friends in. This person said, of course it's viable. There are 2 obvious reasons why. 1, the game is quite fun when playable. The better it gets, the more people will play it. 2, ship sales are proven revenue generators. Thus, the strategy is quite simple. Continue to improve the in-game experience while pushing as many ships out the door as possible. Yeah? So long as missing gameplay mechanics that are fundamental to the sandbox MMO that SC aims to be arrived by the time Squadron 42 releases, I believe this is a winning strategy. As long as it keeps getting better. Somebody had pointed out that I said I would be more critical about how the development is going after server meshing came out. And part of the reason that, I don't know, I haven't like thrown a temper tantrum in a video or something, is because I do feel like it is better. And maybe that's copium, whatever, I don't know. The server frame rates run better. I get better FPS fights with NPCs. I actually have fun playing the game. Like, I'm doing a lot more of like actual content when we play rather than just running around testing new features. I feel like it is better. That being said, it's not like close to what I hope we reach this year. And I think their radio silence on what's it called? Dynamic server meshing is a little weird. All right, this person replied and said, there is likely no chance for all the fundamental mechanisms to get implemented before Squadron 42. A lot of people seem to be unaware at that whole reason there was a lot of focus on developing Squadron things was because the plan was that Squadron would come out way before Star Citizen would be ready. Yeah, I don't think they're going to come out at the same time still. I agree that they aren't likely to deliver all of them, but with right priorities, I think we could be playing a dramatically improved game by Q3 2026. So this conversation keeps going, but you get the idea. This is sort of the back and forth that we see. This person said, when a business focuses on the product, money follows. When a business focuses on the money, a good product does not follow. With the funding for the beginning of 2025, it is important to keep in mind that there are 2 prime factors. The no cash until pyro crowd, many of whom waited for the new year to really buy in. I feel like the no cash until pyro crowd just said no cash until Nyx. No cash until Terra. Just keep... no cash. The news of item recovery T0 through 2, lots of people like me never really bought gear in the store without the existence of some way to recover it. So they're not saying specifically, but they are insinuating that they're more likely to buy stuff because it won't disappear. Hopefully that does not affect Star Citizen's ability to move on from Tier 0. Another thread on this by Praetor Archer, said, 1/4 of the way into the year of playability, what has been your experience? And people are saying playability has improved. I can say they are working to improve it. And I can see they are working to improve it further. This is a pretty new thread, actually. This was just posted. So these are, well, it was just posted when we started. Playability, been a big improvement. I'll take the small hiccups at the start of new updates as long as it keeps improving. This person said much improved. Aside from the problems with this patch over the weekend, playability has increased each month. The whole goal of the year is more and better playability, not that the whole entire year is going to be 100% more playability. It's been incredibly stale, even with all the problems over the weekend. Oh, stable, not stale, sorry. Skaven said 4.0 compared to 324 or 318. 4.0 is a milestone, better than before server meshing, especially with 30 server FPS instead of 7. Today, all of the missions worked, cargo to planet warehouses, bounty hunting missions at the new event location, but everything at the moment is a complete random with your system in the server you find. You can still run into those problems. This person said, pros, all the ships I've bought in game have persisted across patches. I don't ever completely stuck anywhere due to elevators nor transit. Missions rarely break anymore. Cons, a lot of missions are still missing. Interaction delay can be pretty extreme, and you still have to double check that the elevator is actually there when the doors open. Yeah. Here's the thing, Master Enatar. I think a lot of people assumed year of stability would equal it will be playable and stable in February. I think we're in it for the long run. Meanwhile, stuff like Hathor has been some of the most fun content they've ever had. While right now I can't sign in because I'm away from home, this is the most I've wanted to sign in. This person said it's better than I've seen in years. Weekend was hit or miss with degradation, but the variety is nice. Harold said, still can't move all of my inventory, still need to tell new players workaround for fuel bugs, still ships disappear, become a crash state. This is often when you have things on the ship, very frustrating if that's worth a lot of your time getting. Still cargo gridlock, still need to fill like crazy getting mining bags, still need to explain the merry-go-round for delivering items to latest mission givers, still need to explain to new members, QT swapping, deleting your jump drive, still losing components installed or stored in your inventory during LTP patch changes, still can't send party invites to friends intermittently, still can't join a new server when the server you are on crashes you into oblivion each time you join to log out to join your friends, because crash recovery is good, but not when the game is dragging you into a server that's dying. It's frustrating to find these issues are not fixed over many weeks, as some are entirely game-breaking, and there is little clue as to what the workarounds are for new players. I know most of these workarounds because I've been playing for years, but the new players we want as part of the community are left to search high and low for the little nuggets of info that save hours of frustration. Don't know why the workarounds that have been with us for months aren't listed on the launcher. Despite the above, been playing loads, having a great time, and really looking forward to this all working properly soon. Keep going, CIG. It is definitely, there's still plenty of problems, and I think people, these problems that he's mentioning are really important because, like he said, it's the newcomers, it's the people getting into the game that are running into this. We know how to work around them, but a lot of new people don't. This person said it's been better for me. I've had completely issue-free sessions as long as I'm avoiding whatever big events they're pushing. This person said game has been playable since 4.0. Aside from this weekend, incredible progress. Just started at the end of 4.0. Became slightly better over 4.0.1 and 0.2. Then 4.1 dropped, and I can't leave the hab in under 15 minutes, the hab building. So they're going back for Monster Hunter and Stalker 2. Honestly, good call. Better overall might be a good time to bring back the Bug Smashers video. Game's playability has become much higher compared to previous years. By and large, much better than it has often has been. Most of my sessions ended either with me being AFK or deliberately logging out. Some interaction delays here and there, slow inventory loading, degraded performance was still thoroughly playable for me. 4.0 was okay, 4.0.1 was better, 4.0.2 was spectacular. I mean, there's definitely a sense of it is improved. And I like to think that it has too, since before server meshing. Which is why I haven't really been again, foaming at the mouth. But if you come to these streams, if you watch the podcasts, if you check out the Space Tomato 2 videos, you'll hear me still comment about how we do need more stability and they need to continue on with this stuff. I just think that it's playability. They're going to keep adding content and stuff that keeps the game playable. And that's what people are talking about here. This person asked, does it feel more alive now? Which I thought kind of fit into the conversation as well. They just asked, as the subject asks, does it feel more alive? Be it because we are at 600 players per server, or that players are more freely allowed to express themselves, or any other reason you feel. Kev Lloyd said, global chat is 300 people talking about stuff that's broken and a half dozen trolls saying Trump 2028. So it doesn't, we're not even in a thread about the chat. We already went over that. But the first freaking comment is again about chat. Whew. They're struggling with that. They said we need more robust chat system. Surprised the game this old hasn't opened up more chat channels. Global chat should be accessed from a terminal at major stations. Planetary chat should be within range of planets or stations. As I read your comment, somebody posted just that in the chat. All right, this person said, personally, I feel like it is more alive. I interact with more players in the last year than I did in the last 3 to 4 prior to that. The many new settlements and NPC population and content makes the game easier to get into nowadays, but the thing I feel the games feel more alive is the performance. I think compared to pre-3.15 where the lag was so present in everything we did, remember the time where 25 FPS was a benchmark for client FPS? This is the disconnect between older backers and newer backers. I am more along this line of thinking of this. It used to be a terrible time playing Star Citizen. It was novel, but it was still just not fun. Now the game just runs better. Even before 4.0, like FPS was just better for everybody. Here's an interesting take. This person said, no matter what, you'll be able to confirm any bias on this subject easily. Just yesterday, Anzia had a 24-hour race in SC with over 100 people involved, making for a very lively scene. Head to say Jumptown and you'll be lucky to see one player in 24 hours. The areas where stuff is happening is definitely lively, and Gear Recovery 1.0 is leading to far fewer sperm suits and naked people running around, which is nice. They have decreased maximum player counts temporarily to help with stability, but it's still in the multiple hundreds, so where people want to be, there's players running around doing stuff. Yep. My reply said, it's kind of funny, but they show that most of the social areas are seriously outdated and poorly designed. The places where people meet are designed for far less people than what we have currently. It's not wrong. Yeah, people just saying they run into more people more often. In general, I think people are feeling it's more playable, or at least more populated. Over here, I think people are definitely feeling like there are playability improvements, but it's still not quite where it needs to be. So, jury's out. I don't think, I think the freaking excitement over 4.1 not working well is just the usual quarterly excitement over a patch that launches poorly, and I think CIG needs to stop launching patches poorly, and definitely on Fridays and Thursdays, but overall, that's kind of how people are feeling about the current playability push. Hope that answers some questions.